Okay, a few weeks ago I posted this design on my Instagram handle, and too many people DM me, hey, how do you make your highlights? Hey, how do you make your designs? How do you compose your background? Oh, good, fine. Alright. I'll be answering all that in today's tutorial. So my name is Bright from CEO Designs, and watch me as I fool myself around in Photoshop today. Let's go there. Okay, so guys, we'll start by creating a document. So we'll be working with Instagram long post document today, but not the same size as 1080 by 1350. No, I already did some calculation and expanded it so I could get something much bigger quality. So 1580 by 1975. This could actually be somebody's date of birth. So resolution 300. I will click on create. Alright, cool. So first thing you do whenever you create a new document on Photoshop, you click the unlock layer to unlock the layer. That done. Okay, so we'll create a incredible, interesting background. Serious. So we'll create our background. So we'll start by clicking on the adjustment layer, the solid color. So we'll be having the first color, we'll be having a darker shade of red, so that should be 140504. Okay, very dark shade of red. Then we hit on OK. Now watch the trick. So we'll create another solid fill but a lighter shade of red on it. So this will be 7C1810. Okay, so we'll click on OK. Now watch very well. So change this blend mode to linear dodge add. Okay, nothing special happened, just calm down. So hitting on the layer marks thumbnail, press Ctrl I or Command I on your keyboard to flip the layer marks, to invert it rather. So we're having black here, so you pick your brush tool, then switch to white. Since we're having black layer marks, we use white to review. So we want to review some parts, some segments, some section of the red. So just pop this guy very large using the square bracket, the right square bracket. So you could increase your opacity to around 80 something and your float around 80 something or 70 something like this. Then come to the center and damp like 1 2. Okay, this is nice, right? Okay, so we'll do same thing again but with another color code. Now we'll pop this guy, hit on this guy and solid color. Then we'll choose the color code for this guy is DE2 B1C. So we all be on the same page. So it's more saturated red, very crazy. So we change the blend mode to linear dodge again. Then we do the same thing, Control Command I to flip that guy. I'll pick our brush tool with white selected, just reduce the brush a little bit. You could just drop the opacity and flow and just damp and crazy. You could reduce a little bit so it comes almost at the center like this. Okay, then you could still reduce it here so it doesn't interfere so much. So we're having flow from a very light red to darker one to darkest. So that's just the trick. Alright, that done. We are making good progress. So the next we'll be doing, I created a patterned background. So something like this, we'll see that very quickly. So choose your type tool. So let's write for this tutorial, I'm making like it's thank you 300 subscribers. That's why I'm using the text 300, but whichever you are working with, if it's 500 200 1000, whatever thing you're working with, that's the text you'll be having here, because it's the same text you're having as your thank you text. That's the same text you should have for the background, just to use to structure the background a little bit. So okay, so we'll change the fonts to still fish or any long font you have, human, whatsoever, a long straight font, just use something like this. So just reduce this one to around -5 -10. You know me as usual. Then for the color code, we'll be having something close to this, just something a little bit light like this. Just pick around there. So that should be like 6F170F. We could still change that if we like. So having this one, scale up this one, scale it up like this. All right, You get it? Okay, that's very good. So we'll duplicate this guy into 3. So we have 1. We could still scale this guy down some more like this. So just duplicate that. So Ctrl J on your keyboard or Command J, then Ctrl T to transform. Hold Shift on your keyboard and just pull this guy down. So the reason why you are holding Shift is so that it retains that straight line, so that everything matches in the center like that. So you could just join up. Then Ctrl J again, Ctrl T, hold Shift on your keyboard and pull the third guy down. So we have 3 on our screen. Good. All right. So we could highlight from this one, hold Shift and hit the first one, then Ctrl G to group. All right. So we could just call this 300, right? Because we have the left version that will flip to the other side. All right. So we could take this guy around here. Okay. And something. Let me reduce this guy. I think it's looking so crazily huge. Okay. So I just took the opacity to around 60. Alright, so back to the 300. Okay, this is not Spartan now. 300 Spartan. So we could just scale this guy up more like this. Take the 3 around here. Just want to do a pattern background. Alright, I think it's looking nice. Then we distort. Right click on it. Okay, let's mark this one. So Ctrl J, hide this one. Right click and convert this one to a smart object. Okay, so Ctrl T now to transform again, then right click and click on distort. So just distort it to the right a little bit like this, not so much, just a little bit like this. Some people you could try perspective and just get whichever one, but just make sure you get something like this. It's just a little patterned background. Alright, so commit that guy down. Then Ctrl J or Command J and Ctrl T, then take to the left hand side like this, then right click and perspective, so we could move this guy to the left. You get nothing else. Then you commit the change also. Alright, so we have to the left hand, so we name this one to 300 left. Alright, so select the 2 of them, Ctrl G and group them. Alright, so as they are grouped better, so you could just rename this guy 300 BG, so we know it's the 300 in the background. So the reason why we took it to smart object is so that whenever I want to type, it doesn't interfere, because if it's still in text, you can't type on it, 1, and 2, if it's still in text layer, you can't do perspective on it. It's only when it's rasterized, or see, if it's in text layer, if you try to do perspective, you can't do perspective or distort. So that's the other reason why we turned it to smart object. So you get me? So let's continue. Alright, so having this one, create a layer mask on it like this. Pick your brush tool with black selected, flip to black. So pick your brush, just reduce the size so it doesn't get so crazily huge and stuff. Alright, okay, reduce the size, then just brush off some parts of this guy so it just kind of flows with the background, just a little. Then the bottom, brush them off very well like this, you see. So it's just like a kind of a little trick to get that guy functioning there. Alright, let me bring back a little part in this. Okay, so the last thing we'll do to this guy again, we'll duplicate again, Ctrl J, hide this one, then just right click on this one and convert to smart object, then take to blur. Don't mind me, I like to okay, so to Gaussian blur, just give this around 6. Okay, 6 points. Okay, 6 is good. Then hit on OK. So it's just helping our background, like helping fill up our background there, you get. Okay, so it's good like this. So we can introduce the man now into the design. So go to file, go to place, embedded our man here. They'll just have him in the design. So he came with the background. So let me just increase this guy, so I pull out the background and start working with the man. But before I do that, let's start saving. That's the new thing we learned in this channel. So let's save doing every process. So let's just save this guy up here. 300 subscribers. Alright, so hit on save, so that guy stays there. Okay, it's good in case anything happens. Alright, so I pick my magic wand tool, then click select subject, so that Photoshop AI can do the magic for me. I'm a very lazy guy, I don't have time for all this, so I'll just wait for it while I keep entertaining you guys my talk. Okay, it is done, and zoom in. Alright, fine. So I click select and mask. Okay, there's something I don't like in this image. This guy here and this guy here, it's looking like two horns. So just cancel this guy. We'll pull that out from our selection. I don't want to see it. So I'll pick my lasso tool. I'll click on subtract selection and come here and just select that guy out from my selection. I don't want to see it. I don't. Even when I created the first design, it kind of irritated me when I saw it. It was not looking nice. Okay, I think it should be better now. So go back to select and mask, and it pulls that out. So let me just reduce this guy to. Okay, so see the settings: smooth 2, feather 2.5, contrast 18%, then shift edge around -24, and it's better. Hit on OK, then hit on the layer mask icon shown out. Alright, good. You name this guy to man, place him in a group, Ctrl G to place in a group. So name this group man, yes, and just give that group a color so we can know where it starts and end. Alright, good. So let's just take this man down this place and scale him up some more. So holding Alt on my keyboard, I stretch and proportionally it's scaling up from the center, stuff like that. Alright, so having this man around here. Okay, let me reduce him a little bit so he doesn't occupy our space. Alright, that's cool. So the next thing I'll do, under this layer I will have the 300 text, like the thank you text now. So okay, let's reduce this guy. Okay, so let me just put in the 300 text. Then there's something else we'll do to the background to help out the background. Okay, so type 300. Alright, still with the same font we used for the background, the still fish, very big, long, so we'll make it big to be around his shoulder because the light will be hitting his shoulder after now. Okay, so that's good. So open this guy, so we could just reduce this guy to like -25. Okay, let's say -30 or -35. Okay, -30. Okay, and so working with a very big size around 281. Okay, so that's good. Alright, so what else am I doing? Okay, now back to this under layer where the background is. Okay, so the Ctrl T to transform, just scale this guy up some more like this and hit on OK. Alright, in case if when you distorted yours or you did the perspective you don't like it, one of the reasons why we used smart object is this: you can always double click and fix it. So double clicking on that layer takes you back to this whole thing we were doing, so you could open the group again and readjust whichever one you want to readjust. You could distort and perspective again from here. Then once you are done, you hit on save. Once you hit on save here, it reflects immediately on the main canvas we are working with. You get, so that's the benefit of smart objects. So let me also save my work as I'm still working. Alright, as I did that save now, I just remembered. Okay, so on top of the 300 background copy, pick create a new layer, pick brush tool. If you have a hard brush, or sorry, if you have a soft brush like this, where is that brush? If you have a brush like this that creates cool effects, it's all cool for it, but we'll be working with the soft round brush since it's what everybody has. Alright, so increase your soft round brush. Now see the thing, just pick this kind of color, a dark color, then reduce the flow. So we'll just brush around these edges so it gives that little illusion of depth around. You get just small illusion of depth, just a little. So you are seeking for depth in your design, play with highlight and shadow. Simple trick. Start getting realism depth. You could go much more crazy and get it much darker. No, and get it much darker like this to get more strong depth, stuff like that. Okay, so we can continue, and we could also still reduce the opacity and flow of this guy so everything is in sync. You get me? Alright, so let's continue working. Okay, what am I doing next? Okay, so let's edit the man's image. Okay, so just click on the man and start the edit. Okay, because in the future of this tutorial we'll have this 300 glowing with so much light, so that light will reflect on the man. So whenever you want to do a trick having light and light reflection and the light is coming from behind, it's always advisable to get your subject, which is the man, darker, so that when the light comes it hits the places where the light will hit and it causes a much better realism. But if the man is as bright as this right now and that light is coming from back, it doesn't make any sense. So before we do that, let's first head into camera raw and just quickly adjust this man's image, like just correct some things or make some things fine to some things. So camera raw filter, hit on that, go to filter, camera raw filter. So wait for the window to pop up. Alright, so first thing, I want to see some of the dark shadows. I'll just increase the shadow slider like this. Okay, just keep at 10, it's good. Then let's increase the texture and clarity. Alright, don't go crazy with that, just be subtle. Alright, so also I want to drop down some saturation so it will be less saturated. Alright, okay, so we go straight to details, give some sharpening, so every of these popping crazy. You could reduce little noise from it, just a little. Alright, then lastly go to effect and add some grain. Okay, so hit on OK. Alright, so now we'll make the man's image darker so the bright light from behind can help out. So to do that, we go to adjustment layer, we go to exposure, and we just drop down the exposure of the image, not like this. So around 1 point, okay, let's keep at 1.2, sorry, 1.2, so it's fine like this. Alright, so please make sure you clip that to the mask layer only. Okay, so another thing I just saw that I think would be so interesting for our composition, so let's go down this layer, then also add a little exposure down there. Sorry, just leave that to affect everything below. So just add a little exposure like this, you see. Then on this layer, pick your brush to flip to black and just remove the ones at the center so our red can still be showing. So we already did something like that with the brush, but it was not looking as interesting as when I put that exposure on the man. I loved what I saw, so that was right. And this one we can always adjust it compared to this one. You cannot really adjust this one. So this one we can make the exposure more darker, you get, so it's much more better like this. It's always good that you work indestructibly. I forgot when I used that brush, so please forgive me. Okay, so back to the man's image. So we are editing the man's image. We've done camera raw filter, and we have also added exposure. Alright, that's cool. So let's add some color balance to it so it blends with the background. So if you guess, our background is red, so he needs some red and also some yellow to just pop up the image. Okay, so for midtones, pull the red slider up just a little. Everything should be mild. So yellow, pull the yellow slider back. So once we go back, it adds more yellow to it. Just pull it back a little. Then go to shadows, pull the red slider up just a little and pull the yellow slider down a little so it gives some yellow to it. Then lastly to the highlight, so just put the red up a little and put yellow almost crazily like this. Okay, so before and after. So I think it's giving some interesting feel. Okay, let's reduce this guy a little bit, and also let's go to the mid-tone. And all right, so it's all good. It's better in my eyes now. Okay, so another thing I want to do, go to levels, clip that guy there, and just add up this guy just a little bit like that. Okay, it's cool. Yeah, I like how it's going now. So I'll still save again to avoid any issues with, So we are done with our mass image. So let's make our 300 glow. Okay, so let's zoom in. Okay, let me revert this line spacing. Let's keep at let's keep at -10. Okay, I think it should be better that way. All right, I think this is not looking center. So hold Control and pick the man also and just move them. Yes, like that. Okay, you could still use this too. No, I don't want that. Just leave it like that. Okay, it's better now. Alright, so now I want to make the 300 glow. So watch the trick very closely. Now we're having the first 300. Just duplicate this one and let's hide this one in case if there's any issue, can revert back to this guy. So change the color. It's not pure white. No, I'm not using pure white. So FD F2, yeah, something like that, and hit on OK. All right, so this is the trick of the glow, because we want to make it glow. We first of all add an outer glow to it. So double tap on this to go to FX where you add effects. It's obvious. So we'll add a glow to this first of all. So okay, this is good, it's already there. Yes, FEBEBE, okay, hit on OK, and just reduce the opacity. You could keep it at 50. Alright, so hit on OK there. Now first one done. So duplicate this guy now, right click and click on duplicate layer. Alright, so convert this also to a smart object, because we want to do some effect on it, and in case if there's any issue, we can always go back and revert or go back and edit the effect. So we hit on filter, then blur and Gaussian blur. Alright, so something around 15, 12 should be very okay. Let's see, let's keep at 13 and hit on OK. Yes, so we'll do for the third time. So Ctrl J to duplicate again. Now this is the third one. So we'll add another blur to it, filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and this should be around 15. It's okay. Alright, so hit on OK. So you could not go so much crazy and change the blend mode to something else here and get some much more blur, some much more glow like this, and get so screen is really adding so much to the glow. Yes, I think that's nice. So we can actually continue. Then I've seen another issue. So these are exposure here. Let's just reduce it a little bit so it doesn't get so dark like what I just saw. Alright, so that's cool. Now back to the man's image. Since our 300 is already working and it's glowing very nice, so we could start adding our highlights from the 300 on the man. Since it's glowing, there should be light hitting the man to give that some realism. So there are different tricks in doing this. Everybody has different ways, but I'll show you the way I used working with this with my mouse. Yes, this is not a pen mouse, this is a normal system mouse that worked out fine. So just watch very closely. So first of all, we'll create a solid color fill, and just hit on OK. Then I click and say create clipping mark, so it clips to the man only. So this solid color fill is in the man's layer, is folder. Okay, so you hit on the thumbnail, double tap on it, then just pick this color here, because that's the highlight color we'll be working with. I hit on OK. So after doing this, you double tap on this layer to open the FX effects windows. So down the blend, if you have the underlying layer slider or anchor, so you could just slide that and holding Alt on your keyboard to break the anchors into two like this. So we want to separate the highlights from the shadow, so we'll know where to shade in the man, so it doesn't affect the shadows in the man's body. So something like this is cool. So we hit on OK once we have gotten that down. Now it's not the thing, this is not the highlight. So as usual, we'll flip our layer mask. So Ctrl I to flip like this. Okay, then we'll pick our brush tool and reduce the size. Now since our layer mask is black, so you should guess we'll be shading with white to reveal. You get now. Alright, so cool, very cool. So at this point we're making headway. So at this point, just increase your opacity up like this, over 80 something, so your flow over 70 something. Okay, so we'll start to shade. Now see the way I shaded it. You start from the every edge of the man, because the light is coming from behind, so it's hitting the edges of the man, the edge of this edge, then the edges in the face like this. Also, it will also reflect on the phone, also on this hand and stuff, just to add some more realism and some exaggeration to it, because sometimes in design we also exaggerate. You get it? So to start up, we'll reduce our brush and come to the edge. You could still reduce this guy because I'm scared of it. Okay, you could reduce your brush, then come to the edge, damp the brush, hold shift on your keyboard and damp again like that. You see, the while shift is still held down or pressed down on your keyboard, continue damping and move around the hand like that, around the clothes like this. You see, cool. So come here to, by now you should have removed shift from your, you should have removed your hand from shift. So on the other side you do same thing. So you click, hold shift down and continue damping like that while maintaining the edges of the man. That's the key. Now just try and maintain the edges of the man while shift is still held down. Okay, so we could come here and do same for the neck region like this, you get. So I'm not speeding up this video, I want everybody to see it. So because people kept asking me how do I do my highlights, so we'll continue like that. So as I said, I'll not be speeding up the video so you see it. Whoa, crazy. So you see it happen live. Yeah, because if I speed it up, it's as if as usual I just do. And so let's come to this edge, the edge of the hand, and same thing while still holding shift. So as I said, you get, and like this, just keep brushing that guy till it looks real, till it looks nice, so that the man will be happy wherever I see you. Give it, bro, thumbs up, you are the real G, that kind of thing. So okay, before you start getting crazy, you know, when you start to talk now, you start to mess things up. Bro, focus, see you focus right now, focus. Okay, all right. So coming to the phone, you could just reduce the opacity so that you're not getting spoiled. By now you should have saved because when you start doing highlights, something could happen to your Photoshop. All right, so come to this place, click and hold shift, and cool. So if it's excess, you could flip to black by pressing X on your keyboard and brush off the excess like this. Cool. So flip back to white and let's continue. So come to this hand, we click, hold shift, and we just maintain consistency following that light direction like that. Now when you exceed just the edges and you come into some other places that has some light rays on them or highlights, it makes your composition or your subject look more real, as if he's truly in the scene where the light is busting out from. That's just a little trick. Okay, so flip back to white and also fix the highlights here, just to add some interest to this composition. All right, so we could remove the excesses by flipping back to black. I've started saying nonsense. Oh god. Okay, it's not easy, sincerely. All right, assuming I'm not shooting a video, it takes much time fixing highlights, but because of it's a video, we if I'm giving to every of the details, we'll sleep here and people say, see, I've started again. Oh, we'll keep editing till it becomes, I'm not a perfectionist, please, but things should always go well. So Wherever you see your design, you are proud of it. And yes, I did that. You know, there are some designs you design, and if somebody asks you, bro, now you do this design, like, no, I'm not the one. No. Okay, so that's how we keep doing that till we get what we actually want. So when there are issues, you just flip back to black and correct them. So we could also just reduce the opacity and flow down like over 20, and just damp with black so it doesn't get too much. Because whenever you are adding highlights, always zoom in and out to see how it's looking. So when you zoom out, it's looking crazy. Excuse me. You just pull it down a little bit, like this side, looking kind of crazy. So you just pull it down a little bit. Alright. So we are not done. We are not done with the highlights. If you thought we were done, no. So what you do again, you come to this one, Ctrl J to duplicate that guy. Right click to clip marks, create clip marks, then delete this layer marks. Create a new layer marks, hold Alt on your keyboard and hit here so you create an inverted layer marks. So pick your brush tool with white selected. Now will help the glow to, or will help the highlight to glow. So add some stuffs like this on them so it look much more realistic. So just increase this guy to around 80 something and this guy to around 70 something. Alright, so see how we'll target some places now. So starting with this place where we have light coming from the man's neck, you see there's light coming from the man's neck here, and also there's light coming from the man's neck here. So that's how we brush where light is, like where we're having highlights on our subject. So we start from this side, so we just brush in like this. You get, sorry, Ctrl Z. So we flip to black and just brush off excesses. So just take this guy down so it doesn't look so scary in your eyes, something like that. So this other side, just pick and just ball in like this, flip to black and brush off excesses like that. See, so it's adding some much more interest to it. So we could also reduce the opacity like this and flow like this, so we could have them damped around this point. Oh, so sorry, flip to white. So we could have them damped like this. When it's getting all crazy like this, we start fading off excesses. Always know when to switch to black. So hide. See, okay, see it's looking almost crazy around here. So we could just get, so that's the, we'll keep adding like that. So it's time consuming, but the end is always worthy. So this one we could also remove excesses, yeah. So it's always time consuming, but it's always worth it when you are done. You see, so just as I said, I don't want to speed up the video in this place, so everybody see what I am doing. Okay, so we could get much crazy and add around here, but I will not use that to add here so it doesn't look awkward. I'll use curves to add around those places rather. So we'll use curves there. So let's just balance up this side. So let's reduce the brush and flip to white and just help out this side. You get, so it gets much more pronounced like that. Okay, so we could have around here. Don't worry, we always use a black to dim it down a little bit, just to add some interest to the composition. Some of these are not like kind of exaggerations. See, so it's kinds of add much more to it. So if I hide that layer, you see how it's added so much more to it, right? I think it's looking nice. Okay, we are not done with it, so let's hide both of them. Let's play them back. See, it's adding. So the only place we have not added now is to the face, which I said we'll use curves for that. So watch how I'll do that. Just so we'll create a curve adjustment layer under these two guys. So here we go to adjustment layer, then curves, then just pop this guy up like this, so we see how crazy it's looking. Alright, so just keep this guy like this, don't worry. Then flip that guy, Ctrl I to invert. Alright, so pick your brush tool, then zoom in. Okay, before we do that, Ctrl I to take back the number. So we also split it so it doesn't affect our shadows. So just the same thing we did, we break down this slider and you get, so it doesn't affect our shadows, so it only affects the highlight. Alright, I think that's cool. So flip this guy and zoom in so we could see very closely what we are doing. Okay, so we could start from the nose and just drop and highlight there. So with this brush, we'll increase the opacity to around 80, something like that. Note, designs are not easy, but with persistency and hard work you definitely get it. So click and hold shift, and so you get that glow. You could add more yet. Then also on the lips, just something subtle, hold shift and just get something like that. Also on the forehead, you could just damp on the forehead like this. Okay, then by this side of the face, we could click, hold shift, so you get that light really hitting the side of the face, and also this side of the face, so you hit and hold shift and get so much light hitting that side of the face. Alright, this is looking much better. Okay, so we could still continue using the curve even for the shirt to get some stuffs working. That's the trick. So like, so we could add it to give so much more effect on the shirt. So without the curve on the face and with the curve, so it's helping out. So if it's looking much crazy, you could reduce the opacity and flow so it doesn't look like a witch. Alright, so we could also add to the clothes, just as I said. So I could just brush a little inside the clothes. So I could just brush a little around here and around, click and hold shift, something like that, so as if it's coming into the mask clothes. Then once it's getting too much, flip to black and just get rid of excesses. Okay, same thing with the side. So you keep doing just to get some realism in this composition. Get me? So it's looking cool. So the last thing we'll do now is to effect the hair. So the hair also gets part of the business. So please, let's see, very important. So the hair gets part of the business. So let's use this guy for the hair. So clicking on that thumbnail, we pick our brush tool with white brush selected. So just come and play around the edges of the hair, something like this, 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 like this. Don't get so crazy with it before you start looking as he has white hair. Well, it will not take so much time doing this. Well, you get the big idea. Oh, it's getting crazy there. So the cocoa is for you to know the right thing to do. So I've taught you the right thing to do, so you could actually fix stuff now yourself, right? Yes. If you say no, well, right? Yes, I'm very sure. Okay, we could still come in here and we still just a little, and so we still have some more. So it's really look. Yes, I think I like that. Okay, I see another thing. Could also brush in this. Let's reduce that guy. Once we are handling little side or small side, just reduce that guy so it doesn't get awkward. So flip to black and just brush off excesses, just something like this. You get, so I think it's looking nice, it's looking interesting. Yes, looking very interesting. Okay, so there's limit to where the light can hit, so we should not have so much at the bottom side. Okay, I like this very well. It's looking very interesting. I really like this. Okay, so you could I think I just need some brushing inside like this, then just put them tiny so it needs some striking things there, so it look very nice. You get, it's just some trick. So you get that, yeah. You don't stop till you get it. You don't. It's the rule. You don't stop till you get it. You could take tea break, water break, toilet break, but you must come back till you get it. You get. So I think we are good with this. So you could go further and continue destroying, but I've destroyed enough, so I leave the rest destroying for you guys. Alright, so without our sliders and with our highlights and with our highlight, so it's looking much better, you see. So that's cool. Alright, so on top of everything, create a new layer, pick gradient to press D on your keyboard or hit this guy so it goes back to default, then click, hold shift, and yeah, so we just have that guy there. So press click your pick to Ctrl T, hold shift on your keyboard, just slide this guy up, slide this guy down like this, something like that, so it gives that balancing at the bottom. Alright, then don't forget to save. These are important times where you start to save or where you continue saving, so I don't lose any of this thing. It's very painful that you have gone far and you lost it. Okay, another thing I'm seeing now is let's see our exposure for the man. Let's just, so it was in 1.2 before, so let's go down like this. Okay, you see the difference now. You see, assuming there was no exposure, it's looking all stupid. Oh, that exposure is helping it. Oh, it's looking okay. Let's try minus 1.3. Alright, so I think that's cool enough. Okay, that's nice. Alright, so you could go all crazy, add some more highlight, or even to the ear. See, I didn't even add. Okay, that is, you know what to continue doing, so you could fix that yourself. Alright, so let's just finish up this design and move on with our lives. So on this 300 layer, on the background 300 layer, this one, okay, so we can fix every other thing. So create a new layer, pick your brush to pick this inner red, like this red here, so you could just increase opacity and flow, and increase the brush a little, just brush a little bit around, so we just get some more glow from behind at our own pace, the way we like it. It's cool like that. Alright, so we could have our YouTube logo at the corner of the screen, so I'll just put this guy, so I'll turn this guy like this and take this guy to this side, reduce that guy very well, reduce. So what again, after reduction, to still add some depth, just as I've been saying, we could just add just a little drop shadow, black drop shadow, then arrange it around there like that, so you can increase the size and reduce the opacity. Alright, cool. So another thing we'll do, we'll add motion blur. So the motion blur will run like this. This is how the shape is. So we reduce the distance so it doesn't look all crazy and fuzzy. Okay, so keep this guy at, I think 44 should be okay. Alright, okay, cool. So also duplicate, Ctrl T, duplicate, Ctrl J, then Ctrl T to then flip horizontal and turn it like this for the bottom side, so we could still reduce the size so it doesn't look so gigantic and keep our hand there, so it's looking cool like that. Alright, so then one text up the 300, that is thank you, so it's thank you 300 subscribers. So come here, we type thank you, so that font's autograph, Okay, just something simple, nothing much, with the same color with the 300. So just pick that same color. They will give it an outer glow effect. So the outer glow, the same, I think that should be Febebe, yes. So just increase the size, something like that. And so it just tallies with the 300 as it's glowing, something like that. Okay, I think the red we brushed that time. Okay, right, so we could, oh sorry, so we could pick our brush tool and just brush off the side, the top side. Then going back to the 300, that background where we had 300, so create a layer mask on there and just brush off this, so it doesn't really interfere with our design, you get. So it's filling up the sides and the side at least, so you can see stuff's going on there, so it's fine. So the last text that we're having in the design, the text created inside the 300. So that text was created not with horizontal type 2 but vertical type 2. So with vertical type 2 I click, with vertical type 2 I click and type. So subscribers, so that's the guide there. So we'll use font Montserrat as usual. You know, everybody likes Montserrat, not Stillfish now. So we'll just use Montserrat, simple as that. We could reduce this guide to around 12 so it doesn't get so big. Then just copy the same style in the thank you. So please group your layers, don't be like me. Okay, so we go to subscribers, right click and just paste there like that. So that's all cool. So the last thing which is left for you is the box down here that carries the name of your channel or whatever, if it's YouTube page or Instagram, whatever. So just make this one blank and give the outline white with size of 3. Okay, then you could do this one just 3 pixels for, so you just cornered a little bit of 5 pixels, something like that, and it's good to go. So which you write your brand handle and it's all good to go. Then did I just call that one last thing? Okay, no, it's not the last thing. So just to add some much more effects to this guy, you know me, I always end up playing with so many grunge and texture files. So I'll insert some grunge and texture files. So I have this grunge here. Just take it down. I don't want it to be so crazy on my design, so I could look for one that fits properly stuff. So I could just work with screen, then hold alt and click on layer mask, then pick my brush tool and brush wherever I want it, using white as my foreground color. So I could just reduce this guy so it doesn't get so dirty and bad. Good. So you could also add smoke effects stuff. Just play around. Add any effect you like. So I could also input next one, the grunge texture effect, and just take that guy down and change the blend mode. So this one was screen, so let's check. Okay, screen also applies to this one. So hold alt and click on your layers max. So also use white and put it where you want it to be, like this. So it just adds some extra depth. So you could just duplicate this one, disable this, so we take it up, so we also add up like that also. So just delete this, create a new one holding alt. So use white and brush some dirty grunge in the design, just something like this. So don't get it so dirty, just maintain some fun and interest. So I just copy my handle and put there. As it's looking naked like that, it's annoying. Going to end with the final noise. So hold Ctrl Shift and press N on your keyboard. Change the mode to soft light. Fill with 50% gray and hit on OK. Convert this guy to smart object. I love smart object. So go to filter, noise, add noise. I just add noise around 7. That'll be fine. So when you zoom in, you can see the noise. And I think, guys, with that, so guys, with that we come to the end of today's tutorial. I believe you enjoyed it. Give us a like and also subscribe to the channel. Also hit up the bell icon close to the subscribe button so you'll be notified on any future posts like this on this channel. So if you have any questions, use the comment section and drop them. I'll reply to them as soon as possible. Continue enjoying your Photoshop game and happy designing.